Welcome to DAX Machina, with your hosts, Naoma Finn, Steve Wildman Munrotis, and D.A. Roberts. Join us as we explore writing, books, authors, and all things horror. We will delve into the sightings, reports, encounters, and tales of monsters. We will also explore the writings of D.A. Roberts along with others in the horror genre. We will investigate the possibilities that monsters may not be safely locked away in the pages of books. They might just walk among us even now. Grab some popcorn and lock the doors. It's going to be a creepy journey. Welcome to DAX Machina.
Good evening, folks, and welcome to another edition of DAX Machina. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. We've going to have an interesting show tonight. We're going to be talking about cryptids from Japan, and my buddy Wes is going to be joining us again. So we're going to be jumping into that here in just a minute. Just want to take a quick minute and say welcome to everybody that's already popped up in the chat room. We've already got a pretty big crowd showing up. George Jennings, Susan Parsons, Werewolf 5674, Ronald, Josh Jones, hey Josh, Fred in Alaska. What's up, Fred? And that's just to name a few. Not all of them showed up. We got Ronald, John Doe is in the house, Derek Buckles, and Eli Harrison is in the house, Mark Napier. Well, we got quite the crowd. Northwoods Cryptids, Robert Forrester. Folks, thank you guys for jumping in. And introduce my cohorts in crime, Anthony, my brother from another mother. How you doing tonight, brother?
I'm good, thank you, man.
And Wes is joining us again tonight. Doc will be here shortly. He's running a little behind. He should be here in just just a minute. If I could draw y'all's attention to the upper right-hand corner of the screen over that way. Yeah, whichever way.
That way.
There we go. There we go.
Wait.
Yeah, we have a new logo.
Right there.
You guys, hope you guys have checked that out. And the new credits are coming soon. And the promotional art for the show that we will be promoting looks a lot like this. So hoping you guys get a kick out of that and like it. And look for that popping up on advertisements real soon. And we will be going from there. But I'm pretty proud of the new logo. We will have new credits coming very soon. Hopefully by this coming Saturday. But we'll see what we can get done. And I'm going to go ahead and jump in this with both feet, I suppose. Wes has got a unique perspective on this. He actually lived in Japan for about 10 years. So he's going to be able to bring a perspective that that I can't just by reading about these things. But really, what sparked my interest in wanting to know more about Japanese cryptids is the story that made the news. Supposedly back in, I can't remember what century it was, but there was a what they called the Stone of Death. I'm trying to remember the Japanese name for it, but it's this stone that it sets back behind this volcanic field, and it was supposedly holding a demonic entity known as a nine-tailed fox. But and it was supposed to be anybody that touched this stone would die horribly. Well, on March 2nd of this year, that stone broke open. And with everything that's been going on the last couple of years, what else? Why not release a demon?
Exactly.
And the actual name is the Sessho-Seki, or the Killing Stone. And it was it's supposed to embody the spirit of a kitsune, who was killed back in the 1100s. During the reign of Emperor Toba. And the kitsune hatched a plan to assassinate and kill Emperor Toga, and a samurai basically interceded and killed the kitsune. And before the spirit of the kitsune can basically move on to the other side, it basically went into a stone, which is now known as the Killing Stone. And anyone that touches that stone is either threatened or dies.
Is that like a shapeshifter?
Kitsunes, they are shapeshifters, so they can take the form of both inanimate objects and of other people.
Okay.
They do have their fox form. Hold on.
We got the dog family going on, even mine too. Don't worry about it, man.
As soon as he said fox form,
Yeah.
yep.
Mine too jumped
Anyway.
up too when he said it.
Anyways, they also have a sort of human form that they take, and the human form is usually in the form of a beautiful woman.
Yeah, I seen that. I was reading about that. That's crazy.
They
That's a
can
really interesting article too.
they can be mischievous. They can be malicious. Each one is its own personality and own individual.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot. I know there's a lot of cryptid and folktale dealing with Japanese folk, with that. I mean, there's so many creatures. I mean, I think I counted like 56. There's so many of them to keep track of,
Even
It's
then,
crazy.
service of how many there is. Japan is known as the land of 1,000 gods.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I know that when I first heard this story and it talked about it being a nine-tailed fox, I got to admit the only time I'd ever heard of a nine-tailed fox was the Sonic the Hedgehog games. I didn't know what one was. I'm like, that's a thing?
Well,
Holy
even
crap. I thought it was
the-
just made up for the video game.
the movie Ronin, right? With Keanu Reeves. They have these tailed creatures in the beginning of the movie from Japan. And, and it goes back to what? What, Wes? You're talking during during the samurai. I mean, that's
And,
depicted in all their drawings and stuff, too, right?
yeah, and there's depictions of various types of monsters. There's yokai and kami, or god, that's scattered throughout Japan and basically live side by side with the human population.
Very many of them. Is that the
It's
stone,
that
DA?
stone right in the middle of the screen that broke in half. You
Out of
can see it's
nowhere,
already kind of
just
got a
cracked
crack.
open.
Yeah, it's already got kind of a crack in it. But I guess over the centuries, as that stone cracked and water would get down in there, then it would freeze and it would crack a little bit more. I guess it finally just gave up the ghost and busted completely apart. I'll see if I can find a picture of the broken part. I know I've seen images both before and after. I've got to find a picture of the broken. Oh, here we go. Right off the bat, found it. Hang on, give me just a second, guys.
And they had
It downloaded in a format that I can't save to the show.
I was
Of
reading
course.
about Wes. I was reading about these weasels that have sickles. Also, that it's a creature. They'll come by and cut you. Another weasel. I mean, it's crazy. All this stuff that they have in their tails. It's just nuts what they do. The fox. I mean, one's white, one's black. One's supposed to be good. All the demons. Also, it's crazy.
Here's
And
the
you wonder-
before, and there's the after. I guess just enough moisture got down inside of that and busted it right apart.
Damn.
It looks like from the rock, it had a lot of quartz in it, which is probably where the fissures began.
Well, we'll soon find out what's going on.
There's also like they're saying, don't believe that in a two-tailed cat.
Yeah. No.
And there's also the tengu that resides in the mountains
Yeah, I seen that too. There's so many. There's so much cryptid stuff too that they even keep track of.
Oh yeah, they've got
It's
tons of cryptids.
it's ridiculous that they're folk. It's just it's like wow,
Well,
like how true is
Japanese
some of it?
Japanese society embraced that far more than our society ever did. So there was never that stigma of people coming forward with, if we came forward with a Bigfoot story here, and people were like, "Oh, you're crazy." In
Right.
Japan, they were like, "Huh, where did you see it at?"
Right.
It's kind of more one of those lines, like, "Oh my God, where was it at?"
And they have their own version of Bigfoot too there. So I mean,
Yes,
it's
they do.
yeah,
It's called the Hibagon,
yeah,
and it's not quite as big as a Bigfoot,
like
but
5 foot,
essentially,
5 foot.
yeah, 5 to 6 foot range. But they've been known to been claimed to carry off people and animals. They've been seen in and around the Mount Fuji and even close to some of the cities.
Yeah,
They've been seen. I saw a couple of videos that I thought about trying to grab and share, but I'm pretty sure one of them was just a hoax video.
it
because
is. It
just
is.
didn't.
They confirmed it was a hoax.
Yeah, it didn't even look real.
Yeah, they said it was.
When I started watching the video, I'm like, "That's a guy."
Yeah, they
That's
already
a
confirmed
dude.
it. They confirmed it. I watched the thing on it, and they're like, yeah, that some guy hoaxed it. So even the one that I sent you with the body, that the
Yeah.
skull, that was hoaxed too.
That's why you've got to be so careful about video and picture
Yeah.
images anymore. You can't take anything at face value until you've had it authenticated or checked
Right.
out. Because it's so easy to fake that kind of stuff. Wes, what were you telling me before the show about the Hibagon? It's similar to what the snow monkeys, or what was it?
Yeah. In Japan, there's the snow monkeys that live up on far northern areas around the larger island of Hokkaido. But snow monkeys are similar to like baboons of sorts. But the Hibagon and looks very similar to those snow monkeys, and about almost the same size, if not just a bit bigger.
Well, how big are they? How big are the snow monkeys?
Snow monkeys, they're about a meter to a meter and a half,
Okay.
depending on their age. They primarily hang out around the hot springs.
Yeah, I've seen that. I watched a documentary on that. That's crazy.
hmm
They're supposed to be
Yeah.
docile though, right? Or no? They aggressive.
It really depends on the troop, because some of them will be very much used to human presence and they'll be very docile. Yeah, but other times, and they might take a if they've been away in the mountains for a long time, or have little to no human contact, and
Right.
then they'll be.
Right. It's like
Yeah,
any
but
wild creature.
They have been known to the local markets and steal all sorts of things. Mainly
I've seen
food,
that. I've seen that on YouTube. I've seen that. I've seen that when they come in, they just rush right in, grab it, and take off. They're like, what is that? I've seen that. That's nuts. Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's so many cryptids and stuff going on over there, and it's not just Japan. You got Okinawa on it, and typical. That's an island by itself, and Wes being there, there's so many regions of it that's hard to get to, especially up in the mountain regions and stuff, right?
Yeah, there's some areas on the northern part of the island that no one is able to get into, because the terrain is so difficult, or it's actually owned by the military. And you got Camp Hansen and with their training range, and that pretty much takes up half of a mountain.
I found a few pictures from one of the cryptid sites of possible Hibagon. That one's pretty grainy. It's hard to see much. It looks like it was taken probably during a snowstorm. Of course, this is an illustration, and this is an actual spot where Japanese tourists can go look for the Hibagon. So they pretty much embrace it like certain places do here in the States with the Bigfoot stories. It's probably good for a tourist draw, but there are a lot of sightings. I mean, much like the North American Bigfoot, that people see it all the time.
Yeah, I mean, even out to Japan, if I'm wrong, stake me if I'm wrong, Wes, Okinawa and Japan have the biggest salamander in the world that lives in the creeks. Is that true?
In Japan, there's a version of a giant salamander that can be upwards of 2 to 3 feet long.
Yeah, it's huge.
And
now they're saying it's poisonous too, right? They said it has venom.
And it's a mucus.
Yeah.
Of course, Japan would come up with giant poisonous lizards.
And I mean the one I'm talking about, they're so docile, they're hidden. They're under rocks and stuff. They don't try to get away from you. These things are like huge. And the guy's picking them up, looking at them. I'm like, they're endangered. I know that they're protected there. I was watching a thing on it. They're just huge salamanders. I was like, wow. I mean, there's so much stuff out there. Well, like what? What else is wild out there that they have? Oh God, the boar. Don't they have boars out there too?
Yep, boars.
Yeah.
There's they have bears.
Mm-hmm.
There's they have a small deer that's in Japan, and various types of birds. There's hawks.
I know we had talked about the Japanese version of a dog man, but this one kind of, when I started reading about it, kind of freaked me out. I mean, it's kind of it's just a drawing,
right?
But it's a were-tiger, also known as a Harimau Judayan.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually supposedly be seen throughout India, Malaysia, China, Japan, and Indonesia, but it's basically a were-tiger. It's a humanoid tiger. Although in India, I think they call them rakshasas. But it says usually they eat the livestock, although it's not uncommon for them to eat humans.
Oh, nice. That's good.
But it said sightings of these have gone down in recent years.
So they're all over.
Which is probably a good thing.
I'll tell you.
I think people are more focused on other things than going out and looking for things that is supposed to be found.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's crazy. I mean, there's so much stuff.
What was the one you were talking about that's sort of like the dog man or a werewolf?
There's a Japanese version known as the Guhen, the Tengu. Yeah, they act as they are essentially dogmen.
Mm-hmm.
They're pacifists. They're known to be messengers of gods, as between the mountains and human society. Yeah, they rather not get into conflict, but they don't mind throwing hands if they're disrespected.
Yeah. Well, that's very different from the dogman, because dogmen seem to be just, I don't know, jerks. They're always terrorizing people. There's not really any recorded friendly encounters with dogmen. So if these things are more passive, then I guess there's something else entirely, because the dogmen are just notoriously nasty.
You say that they're more civilized.
Mm-hmm.
And they do have an intelligence about them. They know how to communicate and speak. They get to human beings, things that learn the language and debate whatever messages that there is.
Right. Yeah, there's so much stuff. Like I said, man. I mean, they're like DA was saying. They're seen all over the world. I mean, and the version of it in Japan seems a little bit, a little bit different than what we have here in the States, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it's certainly, like Wes was saying, more civilized.
Mm-hmm.
But I would probably go with, you probably use the word docile. They will fight if cornered. They will fight if threatened. But dogmen are just freaking hyper aggressive.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never seen one or ran into one, so I mean, I don't want to. Yeah, that's not my cup of tea. No. And they have the also. I'm trying to think of that other one. I guess it's a dragon, a mystical creature, also a cryptid out there. One of the dragons. I can't think
Mark
of the
Napier
name of
says
it.
the only Japanese cryptid I know of is a turtle that walks on two legs and has a cup of water in its head.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
known as a kappa.
yeah.
They're a aquatic cryptid, living in the streams, lakes, rivers. They do have a obsession over cucumbers. But they're known to be highly dangerous. And one way to fend them off is writing your name and your birthday on a cucumber and tossing it into the body of water.
Oh, nice.
And if you do happen to get into a fight with one, then there is a rare thing that they do for behavior is that they are quite polite or courteous. So one way to deal with them is to bow to them, and they'll return the bow. And as they do that, the water that's stored in the cup on their head will pour out, leaving them basically, without any power and paralyzed, or defenseless.
Oh,
Whatever strength that they got with water in their head, they'll have the strength of about 9 men. And once that's dumped out, they're no stronger than a small child.
no. What's the other cryptid that they have that's similar to the Bigfoot there, but it's a little hairy man type that steals eggplants out of the garden? You know what I'm talking about? I
I've
heard
heard that one.
I heard a story, and they actually go into your house and use your. It's a thing that they have. They go into the house and use the bathroom, like the tub, and they'll leave. I watched. They leave hair behind. They're about 3 foot tall and they're hairy.
Really?
And they'll steal the eggplants out of the garden, and they're very aggressive. I'm trying to think of the name of it, and I was looking up earlier. It just like it's like a miniature Bigfoot, you know.
Yeah.
I can't think of the name of it. Let me see if I could find it. But yeah, it's crazy. When I was looking at it, let me see if I can find it.
I know Okinawa has its own version, and that sounds familiar. And I actually wrote down its name. It's the Fujimuna.
I think so. Let me see if I can pull it up. I think you're right, man.
But they're usually depicted about the size of a child with unusually a large head, the hands, feet. They would have kind of a reddish hair.
That's it.
Hmm.
That's it. And they said that they eat eggplant, and they'll destroy your garden. It's weird, totally weird. I'm trying to look and see if I can find it.
They're essentially tree spirits. It's living in the tops of the banyan trees, these and mangroves.
Yeah, they were talking about it, and it's like the size. It's 3 foot tall, 4 foot tall, maybe shorter, and they're hairy. Yeah. There's so many different folklore creatures, man. It's nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Questions. I'm looking.
There is one that I thought was really, really bizarre. And it's actually not in Japan, but it's named by the Japanese. It's actually been sighted in the waters of the Antarctic. And they call it a ningen, ningen,Ningen. It's like this all completely white humanoid.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's really bizarre. It's one of the ones that I was reading about, and I was like, what the hell is this? Japanese whaling ships spotted it, and the so-called ningen or ningen, it means human. They're said to be completely white in color, an estimated length of 20 to 30 meters. Good God, that's a big animal. Eyewitnesses described them as having human-like shape, often with legs, arms, and even 5-fingered hands. Sometimes they're described as having fins or a large mermaid-like tail instead of legs or even tentacles. The only visible or identifiable facial features are the eyes and mouth. According to one account, crew members on deck observed what they initially thought was a foreign submarine in the distance. When they approached, however, it became clear that the irregular shape of the thing that it was not man-made. It was alive. The creature quickly disappeared underwater. And that from that one sighting, it really kind of blew up. It started to show up in magazines and Japanese television. And then they did an article about Antarctic humans, where they speculated about where this creature was from. But Ningen sightings seem to occur most frequently at night, making them all the more difficult to take pictures of. In the still images, the sea cryptids mostly looked like ice. Although it's said that their smooth human-like skin can be seen within when the photographs are enlarged. In any case, no convincing photographs have been made public, either because they do not exist or because, as some people argue, the government does not want to invite undue scrutiny and tarnish the scientific reputation of the whaling research program. Well, whatever the hell they are freaky.
Like a mermaid, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of, but they're huge. They were saying, 20 to 30 meters long. That's like 90 feet.
Yeah, that's more. Big. So it's almost like a whale.
Yeah, but they're reported sometimes as having arms and legs. There's some really weird images floating around out there, like it might be some sort of mutant whale or something.
Johnny Half says amphibious skinwalker.
You might not be far from wrong.
Yeah, he's probably right.
Or a Japanese version of Moby Dick.
Yeah, that too.
The big white whale.
Yeah.
Or she blows.
Yeah, that's crazy. They got all that weird stuff out there. Like I said, just crazy. Oh, what is this?
Jordan Jennings says the people in Japan need better drugs. That's funny. Tony Harris says, sorry I'm late, folks. YouTube's wonderful notification system at its finest. I've been hearing that quite a bit here lately of people having trouble getting their notifications. Maybe you should try like turning off notifications and turning it back on. Maybe that might help. I'm not sure if that'll do it, but maybe. I mean, it's worth a shot. That's Nightbot. Sorry. Trying to catch up on the comments. Oh.
There's mention of a tanuki.
Lanita said she fell and had a ruptured disc and twisted vertebrae. Well, Lanita, I hope you're okay. Keep us posted. I hope you're all right. But have you heard anything about the Ningen? Or Ningen, however it's pronounced?
When I was there, I was living in Okinawa, which is a far southern end of Japan, in the Rico Island chain. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't really hear much of any story of the so-called Ningen. But
it seems like it only... Northwood says 30 meters is about the size of a humpback whale. Wonder if it's a mutant whale. I mean, or a species of whale we never saw before, because they only see it in the Antarctic.
Yeah, and there is humpback whales that do move down to Okinawa during the winter, and albinism can happen in whales. So there might be a case of a albino whale being out there, just like I said, a Japanese version of Moby Dick.
Yeah, well, they also proved that, I'm trying to think of the name of these whales, that they interbreeded, they crossbreeded, out in the Arctic. One of them has, I'm trying to think, one has that horn coming out of the head. What is that one called? Yeah, and that breeded with another whale that has the same almost DNA, and they came up with an offspring of a different species of whale out there. I was watching a documentary on it that they classified as, and it's bigger than its parents. So it's
That
growing to
happens
be
a lot of times with,
Right.
crossbreeding, like the liger. I mean, that
Yeah.
thing's freaking massive.
Yeah, and they were doing that, and they actually documented it. They actually documented like 3 of them so far in the Antarctic. Crazy. I mean, because I guess their DNA has to be similar. Their span of genes, you know, can't be like certain things like a mule and a horse, and you can do all that, but some of them you can't breed them. So
In Alaska, there is instances of polar bears breeding with grizzlies,
yeah,
and
yeah,
they would have the looks of a polar bear, but the size of a grizzly,
yeah,
or they'd be much bigger.
yeah. And that one guy we were talking about, it shot one. He was hunting, and he thought he was shooting a grizzly bear, and he shot one.
Yeah.
It was a hybrid, and Fish and Game came out, and they were like, no, it's a grizzly and right, it's mixed, and they documented it. I mean, this thing was massive. I don't know if you've seen it, Wes. It was huge. That was
I've heard
crazy.
that. I've heard of them, and
Mhm.
also heard about Kodiak bears also breeding with brown bears
Yep.
and grizzlies, and those there will even be more massive.
Yeah. Yeah. They have that too
You want
documented.
short-nosed brown bears to come back? Because that's how you get short-nosed brown
Yeah.
bears.
I mean, these things were massive. They documented that too. It's crazy. I mean, because I guess the food source is getting so low, and they're venturing out. You know, Kodiak Island. I mean, that's the only place you find these Kodiak bears, on the island and in those chains. But bears do swim. I mean, come
Oh,
on.
yeah, they're good swimmers.
Right. You know, even the polar bears, they're going into towns closer
Yeah.
to humans.
Well, they found polar bears miles out to sea.
Yeah. Yeah, that
They're
one
very
guy.
good swimmers.
Yeah, that one guy taped it. They were fishing. He put it on his YouTube. Like it was like 15 miles off the coast. This thing swimming around like it was nothing.
You gotta love Northwoods. As far as I know, my ex has never gone swimming anywhere near. You can always count on Northwoods for a comment about his ex.
Yeah, I guess you don't like her too much, though. Okay.
That's hilarious.
He always
Northwoods,
comes
I
up.
love those comments, brother.
Yeah.
Those are hilarious.
I can't. Oh. Anymore.
Oh.
Anymore.
William Nighthawk has a great point. Says if they can find 2 new species of bioluminescent shark in the Marianas Trench, anything can be out there. You are very correct.
True.
Well, if you guys are on our Discord, there was a conversation that John Doe had brought up in one of the Discord chats. He was talking about the show we did on water cryptids the other day, and he was talking the articles he was mentioning everything. They've basically reevaluated the size category of megalodons, and they believe that megalodons actually got bigger than we originally thought.
Really?
Yeah, like
That's
massive.
nuts, man.
Yeah,
That's
that
crazy.
is a big shark.
I mean, what's the world record? The recorded great white now. What is it, like
it's around
25
feet?
25. That's
25 feet.
the one that documented out in Mexico.
Yeah, the way they call it Big Blue or something
Big Blue.
like that.
Yeah, it's like huge,
Yeah, I think that one's close to 25 feet long.
and it's not even
don't know.
fully matured.
There's a report that I heard about once of a large great white shark that was actually eaten by some other shark that was even bigger.
We were talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah,
They had
that one that they tagged where
Yeah.
it suddenly just took off and went down like 5,000 feet,
Yeah,
trying to outrun
That-
something.
But the tag also noticed a climb in ambient temperature
Mm-hmm.
for like a week or so. Then it drops back down to the typical temperature of the ocean. They
Right.
found it, and
They
all they
s-
can think is that something ate this shark. What else? What other shark is bigger than this great white? A massive 20+ foot. It's a female.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they
And-
basically said with that temperature drop that the shark wouldn't be able to survive. I remember them saying that. So something bigger ate it, and took it down. That's adapted to the temperature of in the ocean. And then when it released it, whatever it did through its bowels, this thing came floating back up, the beacon, which was a GPS tracker, like Wes was, we were talking about, and they found this thing. It was great. And they never found the shark, though. They found the beacon.
Yeah.
So,
Northwoods Cryptids says as if great whites aren't bad enough. There was footage captured by I think it was a drone submersible in the bottom in the Marianas, and they had a light set up, and just out of the darkness, this shark comes swimming up, and they estimated it to be like 80 feet long or something like that. It was just massive. The video's floating around out there. I have to see if I could hunt it down, but they've got footage of that one swimming next to that camera. And just from reference points that they have, known reference points in the frame, they estimated it to be, I can't remember exactly how long, it was like 70 to 80 feet long, which is a massive shark.
Well, it's not even that. Wes, let me ask you a question. Japan, I mean, is any folk laws as far as giant squids? Reason I'm asking you this is that's where they've been finding all these giant squids off the coast of Japan and Okinawa that they've been pulling up in the trawlers. I didn't know if there was a folklore about it. I've never seen anything about it.
There's probably a version of the Japanese Kraken that's out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to ask you, because that's what we have. Like here in the States, we have our version of it.
Well, I know we're kind of off on water cryptids for the moment, but this one's not a cryptid. There was a Portuguese man of war sighted off Guam that was like 30 feet across. And that'll eat a diver.
Yeah, that's nuts. That's some of the stuff out there. It's crazy. Well, where were they finding those coelacanths at? Off Japan?
No, I think those were off Madagascar.
Okay.
Wissakan says there were two sharks that came into Pismo Beach, California during World War II. One was 62 feet, the other was 60. Pictures were taken after they were shot. One of the jaws is on public display in Morro Bay.
What?
Those are massive sharks.
You need to look that up.
Sometime in the early 1900s, there were a group of Australian fishermen who were fishing from the pier, and I think it was in Sydney Harbor. And they all swore up and down that the shark swam by that was every bit the length of the pier, and the pier was like 120 feet long.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's a big shark.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what would that be? A whale shark, or would that be just a regular?
They described it the way they described it looked very much like a great white.
Right. I mean, you're not going to pull jaws out of a shark and have it all over on display.
Yeah, it would have to be some sort of megalodon. William Nighthawk has a good point. There are massive sharks seen off of South Africa all the time.
Well, that's true too. Yeah.
It seems to be a great white feeding frenzy out there. But we're digressing. We're jumping all over water cryptids again, and we kind of got away from Japanese cryptids.
We're going back and forth.
Yeah, well, if there's a topic, we're going to find a way to get off of it.
That's true. South Africa. Okay, yeah. Just looking at the comments. Everybody's mentioning sharks now. 22 foot, 12 foot.
Yeah.
No, I can't.
There is one there's folklore of a giant snake that was supposedly seen on Mount Tsurugi. It's the second highest peak on the island of Shikoku. According to one local legend, the mountain is actually a giant man-made pyramid. Another legend says that a hoard of King Solomon's secret treasure lies buried within it. A giant snake is believed to be guarding the treasure and has been sighted on many occasions. In May of 1973, a group of 4 forestry workers reportedly encountered a 10-meter-long snake as big around as a telephone pole. Good God.
Jeez.
Creature was described as having shiny black scales, and it reportedly made a loud chirping sound. In the months that followed, local officials organized large-scale hunts for the snake, enlisting the help of hundreds of volunteers. While the creature was not apprehended, the researchers did find what appeared to be giant snake tracks that measured 40 centimeters or 16 inches wide and passed alongside fallen trees. A local history museum has in its collection a large jawbone measuring 34 centimeters or 13 inches across, which many believe belongs to the giant snake. Others speculate it belongs to a shark. Terrifying, monstrous serpents seem to be strictly denizens of the uninhabited jungles and swamps of the world, creatures to be found in rainforests and jungles of South America or Africa. However, Japan too has a history of giant snake accounts.
Yeah, it's like the super snake they did that documentary on.
Yeah, the Titanoboa.
Yeah, that thing was massive. Massive.
Structure big enough to eat dinosaurs.
Yeah. And they're
maybe,
finding all this stuff.
maybe Japan has one or two of those Titanoboas that survived.
Really?
Yeah, that, or there's a possibility. I mean, we got it. Some animals that have survived the extinction and that we thought was completely extinct, and who knows? Maybe it might be a case of one of those surviving.
You know, you think about it. What's the food intake on one of them things? I mean, really?
It's got to be a lot. Well, snakes' digestion systems are slow,
Right?
so it would have to. If it ate a big meal, it could probably go a month without eating again.
Right? Yeah. I mean, if they're out there, they're out there. That's like the one they found out in the Amazon. That one anaconda.
The green anaconda.
That thing was massive.
Yeah, it was probably every bit of 30 feet long.
Yeah.
John Abraham said he has a question. It says, when I was stationed in Korea, I heard of a legend about a cryptid and the suicide forest in Japan. I can't remember it real well, but I was wondering if you guys heard about it. Wes, do you know much about the suicide forest?
Yes, I have heard about it. And pretty much anyone that goes into the suicide forest is not to be seen again, at least for a week or two. Yeah, they'll be found hanging, and it kind of goes back to how Japanese society is where work comes first, and a lot of pressure on people to perform both scholastically and with their work ethic, and the stress tends to get to them, and they decide to go into the forest and disappear, and people walking around in the forest that would end up finding the body hanging.
Do you think that's something like haunted about the forest, or one of those self-fulfilling prophecies where people go, oh, this is where people go to hang themselves, and so people start going there to hang themselves?
There has been a belief that the forest does have malicious spirits that do reside, and some sort of demon that or demons that coerce people into sacrificing themselves or committing suicide. There's some YouTuber or VTuber whatever his name is, can't remember offhand. He actually got into a lot of trouble for going into the suicide forest and actually finding a body. And
Then showed it on his YouTube channel.
Yep.
Brilliant. Why would people do that?
Money, viewers.
William Nighthawk brought up a good one. Says, what about the video from the people on the boat in Florida when the snake attacked a manatee? I would like to find that video. I'd like to see that. I hadn't heard about that one. It must be a big-ass snake to attack a manatee. That is not a small animal.
Maybe an anaconda, but pythons can grow fairly large. It all comes down to availability of food.
Well, they're talking about all the snakes, the constrictors that were released into the Florida Everglades have been interbreeding and are creating super snakes. So it could be one of those offshoots of some of those interbreeding snakes. Owissa Khan says, on average, larger snakes eat less once or twice a year if over 25 feet used to sit for a 15-foot boa. She only ate 3 or 4 times a year. Yeah, but when they do eat, it's something big. And I don't think I would want to be on the menu.
Sorry, I had to put the dogs away. They're just driving me nuts.
I'm not sure how to pronounce that. DA, are there any dumb bases in Japan? I'm not sure what a dumb base is. Mark Napier says, Destination Truth had a good show about the suicide forest.
Dumb base. Never heard of that.
I'm not sure what that is.
Deep
Some of the
underground.
Japanese cryptids are just absolutely terrifying. There's one called
Oh,
Gashadokuro.
Deep underground military base.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
Okay.
don't know. The one of the Japanese cryptids is called Gashadokuro, or the starving skeleton. Also, they call it the Odokuro. It's a skeleton-like creature, sometimes depicted as a mass of normally sized human bones that form into the shape of a large skeleton, or else a single skeleton, which is much larger than a normal human. It creeps around towns and villages at night, making a loud ringing noise. It's much taller, 15 times larger than the average sized human. Good God, that thing would be massive.
That's big.
Its bones are said to be made from the bones of those who have starved to death. That's kind of like a Japanese Wendigo. Huh.
Why?
It's found in places such as battlefields where many people have died. Sometimes the collective despair of the dead causes their bones to form into a Gashadokuro. It's kind of like an undead Voltron. If someone hears a Gashadokuro, their only hope for survival is to find a safe place to hide from the monster until sunrise, at which point it will disappear. However, if their hiding place is not sealed and the Gashadokuro senses them in there, it will partially disassemble itself, sending the bones into the spots where an enormous skeleton can't reach and killing whoever hides there.
Very
Nasty.
nice.
I'm guessing that there would have been sightings after the atomic bombings.
Probably.
Yeah. Well, you figure all that nuclear waste and everything. There's got to be stuff out there that it's mutated. I mean, that's where Godzilla came from. Remember? But come on now.
Depends on which Godzilla.
Exactly.
Good
Yeah.
point.
Which version of it? Can't. Undead Voltron, Tony Harris. That's good.
New book series.
Yeah, I seen that.
Sorry, that just kind of popped into my head and I couldn't help but say it. Since it's like made up of a bunch of different skeletons.
Yeah.
Mark Napier says they actually caught an apparition on video. Well, that would be cool to see. Juanita Bryant says we all mutate to our surroundings. Very true.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
There's another one called a kaijin. It literally means sea man. It's a sea monster that supposedly lives in the waters around Japan. It's been mentioned in books, Japanese books, since the Edo period, which I don't know exactly how far back that is, but it's pretty far. According to Japanese material, Japanese Materia Medica, he was almost close to a human. In addition to chin, hair, and eyebrows, between the fingers and limbs is a description of some of the skin. He ate food and drank but never spoke. According to Nagasaki's records, in addition to these features, there was probably a hakama, and a flap of skin around the waist, and they could live for only a few days on the ground after coming up from the sea. One theory suggests that it was based on interactions with sea lions, which are known to be curious, rely on open water to survive, have whiskers on their face and extra skin on their limbs. However, if that holds true, the Japanese legends, they may say that Kaijin Sama is actually a Kazikami, species of god of the winds, and appears to be a purple cloud within the clouds, taking sacrifices in every village to calm down the winds. That's bizarre.
Yeah, and then they have one that has another cryptid that has eyes in their palm of their hands. Yeah, they're supposed to be.
That's creepy.
Yeah, that's supposed to be evil and stuff. Well, just they have a bunch of weird stuff, man, over there on the island. I mean, it's just crazy what they come up with. I mean, how true is half of it? How true? I mean, really, think about it.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of crazy stuff. And that's what I was
wonder
looking up.
what is that in their sake?
Yeah. They got a whole bunch of stuff. They got the woman with the slash across her face by her lips. Yeah, she's a demon or whatever it is. Supposed to be all beautiful, but when she takes her mask, yeah, it's crazy. You know, they got so many different cryptids and folklores, and it's hard to keep up with.
There's another where it has a woman that is, she looks like a normal woman, but when she opens her mouth, she has snake fangs.
Yeah.
And then there's another, of basically a spider woman.
Mm-hmm.
And a spider body, or human upper half, but spider lower half. And
Mark Napier says a lot of Japanese anime is based on cryptids and vice versa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're cartoons, yeah.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of the Pokemon characters are based off of Japanese cryptids.
Yeah, if you look at it, yeah. A lot of the stuff Wes was saying, that's what you find on the Pokemon thing, you know.
Yeah.
They turn them into nice fuzzy things.
Mark says they also need to trap the giant skeleton in a pit full of vinegar. Dissolve them bones.
I can't. Can't.
They seem to have very similar cryptid stuff. I mean, their Bigfoot is similar to ours, but they have stuff that we haven't even thought of over here. I mean, there's a lot of these that I haven't even gotten into.
I can't. Northwoods again.
What did he say this time?
Look it up.
After being married to my ex, I have no need to watch any more movies. Dude, you killed me.
He's just ripping it with her. I'm catching it at the corner of my eye, and I'm like, yep, here we go. Yep. Oh, boy. There's
another cryptid that in Japanese mythology called a Baki Kujira, or ghost whale. It's the skeletal spirit of a dead whale. It said that the creature was from the Shimane prefecture in western Japan, and it's supposedly humongous. It's always accompanied by a host of strange birds and fish. And in one story, a fisherman threw his harpoon at the Baki Kujira to try to catch it, but the harpoon passed through it, and the whale and its host just floated away into the night. Other legends say that the ghost whale brings a powerful curse with it. The curse of the whale, as it's creatively called, is said to bring famine, plague, fires, and other kinds of disasters to the villages it hits. This is the worst nightmare for the villages because it's a complete opposite of what finding a whale usually brings. For the ancient villages, whales were rare and important. They would sometimes come inland or beach themselves on the shore. The fishermen hunted these whales in a practice called passive whaling, using harpoons to kill the whale that was trapped in the shallows. This was a rare and auspicious event. A single whale provided vast amounts of meat and resources for the village, and it seemed like a gift from the gods. And if the whale itself was only a piece of the bounty, whales often came in following large schools of fish, so their arrival meant an abundance of sea life beyond the Leviathan itself. The arrival of a whale could save a village teetering on the edge of starvation. That's wild.
Susan has a good question for Wes.
There we go.
And
Susan Parson says, Wes, did you ever see or experience anything while in Japan?
Yes. There has been a couple instances where I have experienced some ghostly encounters. There's one that was of an old man, and when I was doing some summer hire, I was taking out some trash on base, and after dropping some stuff off in the trash bin, I turned around and there's this old Okinawan-looking man in a traditional garb, and just standing there, and he's just looking at me, and he's not moving his mouth, but he asked me, "Where's my daughter?" And I just kind of looked at it, I was like, "Wait, what?" And he's like, "Where's my daughter?" And perfectly clear English, but I can hear it in my head, and I told him, I was like, "I don't know who your daughter is," and like, I need to give my sword to her, and then disappears. Just gone.
That's weird.
Okay. What's up, Doc?
Doc, how the hell are you? I don't think he can hear us.
No, he's like froze.
Oh, he froze up.
Wyatt, I am rolling.
There
Oh,
you
there
go.
he
You
is.
busted loose.
Okay.
Ah, that's my wonderful, wonderful broadband internet.
Yeah. So this guy just disappeared right there in front of you, Wes, or no? Or did it just really?
He just phasing in, phased out. That sort of deal.
That is really weird, dude.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah. Now, Wes, was he Japanese? But he was speaking. I mean, he was speaking English. You
he was
can
like
hear English.
Yeah, just like how we're speaking right now. And he's perfectly clear English, but not moving his mouth at all. Yet he looked like Okinawan Japanese.
Wow, man.
Hmm.
Damn.
There is a creature out there that does that. It's supposed to get close to you, an old man, and they'll attack you. It's a folklore. I know. I read about that also. I can't think of the name of it. It comes in the shape of an elderly man, and that's how they gain your trust. And once you get close enough, they'll grab you and basically eat you. That's what they do. It was in their
Japanese cryptids
folklore.
all seem to have your demise in mind.
Mhm.
True.
Yeah. Good place to live. No, and we got so many stuff running around out there. Bad enough we got Bigfoot and Dogmen out here. You know.
And tweakers.
Into
Yeah, that's true.
Doc, what do you think of the
Yeah.
new promo?
I like it.
Got some familiar faces on it.
I like it a lot. Yeah. I got a face for radio.
Yeah, look at my mug. My mug is worse. Sweet Jesus. Look like I just got out of prison. I'm like,
Yeah. That's the way my passport photo looks. They're like, look down and don't smile. And I did
Yeah.
like that. And I look like a freaking
Look
psycho,
psychotic.
man.
yeah.
Yeah, I do, man. It's crazy.
I love how they do that too.
You look like that guy from Full Metal Jacket. Hi, Joker.
Oh, Gomer, yeah.
Yeah.
You like down his head.
Private Pile.
Private Pile.
Yeah, man.
No,
Freaking terrifying. Yeah. Look. Let me see
he's
here.
gonna show you. Yeah, you do.
That does look like a mugshot.
They red
Yeah.
flagged you going through there, huh? Custom? Watch this guy.
Yeah, freaking nut job.
Face forward.
If you see
turn
this
left.
man,
Yeah, right, Wes?
call 1-800-USA-TIPS.
Yeah. That's funny with that commercial. You ever see that commercial they put on TV? With the Homeland Security? If you ever
Oh, yeah.
notice something in your neighborhood, I'm like, really? Come on. The old man's peeking out the window looking around the neighborhood. Like, come on.
DA, you want
Yeah.
to see something funny?
Oh, wow.
21-year-old me in basic. Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
you pick up satellite on those ears?
Like a pickup truck going down the road, both doors open. Oh, mercy.
I can't.
So, Wes, how many years were you in Japan, man?
10 years.
Wow. And in Oki?
Yep.
Okay, right
lived
on,
on
man.
Kadena- lived on Kadena Air Base.
Okay.
Both my
Okay.
parents were Air Force.
Oh, right on, man. Yeah, I had a buddy of mine that was in Navy, and he was out there in Oki with the Marine Corps. So about 4 years. That's there's some really what about the little like the legend, was it The Ring? That movie The Ring?
Yeah.
Is there a legend of those types of creatures? I can't remember the name of those creatures. But those are supposed to be like an omen of death, aren't they?
Yeah. Now, the ring being is actually something that originally came out of Okinawa, from what I remember.
Okay.
Yeah. And it kind of goes back to a story of the how someone's watching TV, and all of a sudden, and the picture of a woman shows up, and a picture of silhouette, and as they're watching, they're kind of entranced by it. Then and the spirit of this woman then comes out and grabs them and takes them into her world.
Oh.
But,
Kind of like werewolf.
Yeah.
5674. Yeah, kind of like his ex he keeps talking about. But
Yeah, that's creepy, man. I don't know if y'all already covered it or not, DA, but how about Japanese Bigfoot?
Yeah, we were talking about that. It's called the
Okay.
Hibagon.
There's
Hibagon.
Hibagon. There's not a lot on that though.
Yeah,
I tried
you
looking
can't
it
find
up.
much on it.
No, that's the
Hey,
weird
Doc,
thing.
I think I can top your 21-year-old photo.
Oh Lord.
Where is it?
Woo!
Oof.
Sexy.
That's me at 18.
Sexy.
A lot of mileage down the road since that photo was taken.
Damn.
Woo. Man, you ain't lying.
Ooh.
I
We
got
talk about
lot
a
of
scary cryptid. That's the one.
Oh man.
see,
That one terrifies even me.
Mr. Yoda asking, what is the scariest legend that you have heard of in Japan?
Hmm.
Well, I'm trying to remember, I mean, trying to narrow down just one is a little bit difficult, but it, I know that there was one legend and of a ghost army, that I remember hearing about on Okinawa, and it's supposedly out either in the ammo dump that's near Kadena or just north of Kadena. There is a road that is reported where in the middle of the night, and you'll hear like someone marching. Then, a few minutes later, if someone resides there, wait, you actually see a apparition of a Imperial Japanese Army formation marching down the road.
Okay.
Oh.
That'll get my attention.
Then there's also the cliff jumpers. There's actually a video of a cliff jumper ghost that was found. And somebody was on vacation. I believe it was either around Nago or Naha. One of the cities. Nago's on the northern end of the island, and Naha's on the southern end of the island. And it shows what appears to be a teenage boy and just leaping off of the side of a cliff into the ocean or rock bottom.
Wow.
And let's see.
Gonna get ate by a ninja.
Then I heard of another apparition that is out around the Tsunabe seawall. Who, if you're out on the balcony, this apparition will actually climb up the side of the building to grab you and compel you to fall to your death. And then there's another of a mainly involving the taxi drivers. They would pick up a girl who's completely drenched in water, and she'd ask to be taken home. But halfway en route, she just outright disappears, leave behind in a back seat that is completely covered in water. There's also ghosts of a American serviceman that would show up at one of the gates asking for a cigarette, and he would just look like any other guy, any other soldier that coming up to kind of check things out, see how you're doing, but give him a cigarette, take a couple puffs off of it, then just disappear.
Okay.
The Japanese have some creepy mythology.
Yeah, I got some crazy stuff over there.
And there's constantly the reports of a samurai that is seen in around the Tabana housing area and on Gadina.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
And my father has seen it a couple times, and a few of our friends that was on Okinawa has seen the samurai. If the samurai did show up in the house that our family was living in, and then you've seen a full body once, and another time half body, and it would just be sitting there watching, watching people as they sleep, and then move off. Another time, and somebody had seen it, he was in the full armor, and it was spooked. And usually, when it was spooked, it would just take a sword and draw it and have it like this, or disappearing.
Well, that's not terrifying at all.
No. Not a bit.
No.
Not a bit.
Not just having black entities standing over your bed, but now you got a samurai with a katana on top of it. Okay.
Hope you got brown sheets.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Anthony's got a water cryptid behind him.
I do. That's cool. Yeah. He's the sea dog. Bro, enough. Jeez.
Yeah, there's a lot of water cryptids in Japan, aren't there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
Yeah, we were talking about a few of them a little bit ago before you got in. Then we got off on a tangent and talking about giant sharks.
Yeah, and then great whites came up, and everybody went on that, and I'm surprised we didn't run with the Pokemon thing either when we mentioned that. But okay.
My buddy was telling me when he was over in Oki, he said there was like a whale, like a skeleton.
Yeah,
a whale skeleton.
Yeah, he was
that.
The Bake
Okay.
Kujura.
Yeah, that's the one.
It's the skeletal spirit of a dead whale.
What about the ring? That was the same thing we were talking about, right? Where the girl crawls out of the TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
That's
don't
a
watch
weird
that.
movie. Is that based on an actual legend?
Yeah, there is an actual legend about it where, and from what I remember, it did originate in Okinawa.
Mm-hmm.
And
But she comes out of a well, right? Is it a well she comes out of instead?
I'm trying to remember.
I remember hearing about that. She crawls out of a well. And I guess that for the movie they interpreted it into a TV. I don't know.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but
Then basically fantasy becomes reality, media becomes real.
Exactly. Exactly. Let's see.
Some of these cryptids, if people believe that hard enough, something does become real.
Well,
Kind of like a tulpa.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the same thing with that creepypasta Slender Man. It was made up for the internet, but now people are claiming to see it all over the world, which is really weird.
Yeah.
I know it's not particularly cryptid related, but I don't feel like talking about anything creepy or weird in Japan without mentioning this is kind of doing a disservice. It's something that's kind of fascinated me for the longest time. It's the cursed blades, the samurai blades made by Muramasa. They were called the demon blades because they were believed to possess whoever wielded the blades. They were very unique as far as sword designs go, and it was said that if they were drawn from the scabbard, they had to taste blood, or you wouldn't be able to. If you put it back in the scabbard without it tasting blood, the blade would kill you.
Yeah.
And that could have just been, there were two big schools of sword making in Japan. There was Masamune and Muramasa. And the Masamune blades were the blades of shoguns and the blades of emperors. But Muramasa's blades were becoming very popular among the samurai. So it's possible those rumors could have gotten started by the people that made the Masamune blades. But there's a lot of history to back it up. A lot of very, very violent samurai wielded those blades, and there's supposedly only like 7 of them left known to exist.
There was a handful of blacksmiths, Japanese blacksmiths, still that make, you know, great swords. I mean, the art is just nuts.
Yeah, there's a guy, I don't remember which province of Japan he lives in, but he traces his lineage back to Masamune. He's like a great grandson. And for him to make a sword, and he's got like a 3-year waiting list to make a sword. He makes it in the old style, the old way. But the blades are like $500,000 for a basic blade.
I've seen a documentary on it.
Want a really fancy one, you know, upwards of $1 million for that sword.
Yeah, I seen that. It was on the. I think they had it on Discovery Channel. It was a documentary on it, and they traced it all the way back. He actually makes his own ore from the metal.
Well, then he knows exactly how much carbon.
Right, and that's what he does for one blade. For one blade, he makes it. It takes him close to like 3 weeks to make the ore. I was watching it how they did it. It's crazy, just nuts how he folds it, and I mean, some of them are recorded in history to actually cut through steel. You know, because of it.
How they tested blades, the Japanese blades, they would be, you know, listed on a scale from like 1 to, I think the best ever was like a 14. How they tested that is they would bring out captured enemy soldiers, and however many it could cut through without getting a hitch in the blade. That's how they rated the swords. So for it to cut through 14 people before it starts getting caught, how it could pass completely through 14 people before it stopped.
Yeah,
that's
I've seen them do that. Yeah, they were talking about all that on the documentary. It's crazy.
Nowadays, they use pig carcasses.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, very similar.
Wow.
Eli Harrison has a good comment here. It says, Japanese bladesmithing is an amazing history. They have been making swords the same way for like 2,000 years and recording it as well.
Right.
Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah. And the Muramasa blade, you're talking about that. It said, you said if they took out the scabbard, it didn't draw blood. It was they would even go as far as the legend goes, so far as to make the wielder of the blade either injure or kill himself, so it would satisfy the bloodlust of the blade.
I tell you, I've got a couple of knives that are so sharp, you could literally just, you know, slice hair, just shave hair right off, like razor sharp. And I've got one that's so sharp. In fact, it's this one right here. It's a little punch dagger. I had that clipped to my belt one day, and it had popped out of the blade. The blade had popped out of the sheath, and I didn't know it. And I reached back to take it off my belt, and I just touched the blade, and I knew instantly I was cut. But when I looked at my finger, it wasn't bleeding. I'm like, oh shit, that's a bad one. And so imagine how sharp one of those samurai swords is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't even know you were cut. I'd be afraid to, you might to try to cheat it. Oh, it's going to taste blood. I'll cut my arm a little bit. And next thing you know, you got.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got a bleeder.
That's crazy, man. Yeah.
Northwest Cryptid says it's not from Japan, but the Philippines have. But there's something called the aswang. I don't know what that is. I've heard it before, but I don't know what it is off the top of my head. Martin Napier says he saw the Destination Truth about the aswang.
Yeah. It's an umbrella term, it says, for vampire schools, witches, viscera suckers.
Yeah.
Were beasts.
Viscera? Well, you suck his organs out through his navel.
I guess.
Yeah.
It's like that scene in Animal House with John Belushi and the Jello.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and there was something on a surveillance camera I saw. It was from the Philippines, and they thought it was that kind of creature, and it looked like some kind of animal walking behind a wrought iron gate, and then it basically moved through the gate and then shifted into a human.
I seen that.
Walking off. Yeah,
that's crazy. That's crazy. I seen that.
Yeah, it was creepy.
Stargazer says it's not from the Philippines. Okay.
Really?
It's from the Philippines. He said it's from the Philippines. Or she said.
It's from the Philippines. There it is. Yeah, it's from the Philippines. Okay.
Werewolf
Sorry, Star.
Says none of us could afford a real samurai sword.
You got that right.
That's a fact. I have a buddy that I used to work with at County. I don't want to say his name because I don't have his permission, but his grandfather captured a samurai sword on, I think it was Iwo Jima during World War II, and they still have it.
Yeah. During the Second World War, and the katanas were mass produced.
Mm-hmm. Well, this was the military version, the one that's like all like green and
all decorated
for officers to carry.
Now there was actually two different versions: a senior NCO kind of sergeant blade, and also the officer's blade. They'd have different hilt styles for decoration, but still usable in close combat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of the soldiers are bringing them back for trophies, like anybody they normally do. And that one lady brought back a sword that was so old. She had it in the attic or basement, and she finally brought it. I think she went to go sell it, and somebody was interested in it, and they did the history behind it. And the thing was worth like $5-6 million. Damn. The metal was so old. Crap
like that in my attic.
And he took it off of. There's a story behind it. I think he took it off of one of the officers, but it was his family sword.
Wow.
And it was passed down from century to century to century, and he had it with him in battle, and he took it off of him, and he brought it home and just threw it in the basement and left it there. This thing was in pristine condition, when they found it.
I want to find one of those at a garage sale or something.
Yeah, no crap.
Yeah, it's my grandfather's. I don't know what it's worth. I'll give you $50. Sold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Wes, weren't there some stories from World War II where they had actually taken some like blades, like Anthony was just talking about, and actually had cut them down and modified them for like NCO swords or whatever, and then they realized, oh my God, this is like a 500-year-old blade.
Right. I seen that too. They were talking about that too.
Yeah.
Eli Harrison says there are legends of Japanese swords being stuck in flowing streams. When the leaves were floating by, would be cut by the blades. It was so sharp.
Mm-hmm.
That's a sharp blade.
With the sword, there's people they see a sword like, ooh, my sword, and for the ones that get captured, and they don't really care about it. They don't actually see the historical significance surrounding it. And it's like, oh, I'm going to make this look better. Yeah, or this isn't functional. Need something smaller. Yeah, it's the same way. Even with the bayonets, that's on the rifle. There's where they cut down into something that's more usable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but it's a lot of the officers, the senior officers, that have been in the military for a long while. They are known to. They were known to bring in their own family swords into combat.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a symbol of honor and respect to their ancestors. There's that because some of them were former or along the same family tree of samurai.
Right. Right, and that's what they were talking about in the documentary, that this thing was so old. And John Doe made a good point. Back in the 20, they did poor quality for the swords back in the 20s. They were mass producing them, but this guy's sword that he captured, this sword, this thing was so old. I mean, the metallology on the sword itself, they were investigating it, was folded and it was ridiculous. And when they took the handle off, it was actually made by one of the greatest sword makers in Japan, and I think it was one of them that DA was talking about.
Probably
But
Masamune.
it was centuries old when he took the handle off, and the thing was worth millions. I mean, millions. It was crazy.
Yeah.
There's one sword, I believe it was called the Sword of Emperors. It was made by Masamune, and I want to say it was called the Konsho sword. That was belonged to the Japanese emperors, dating back through centuries. And right after the occupation during World War II, it vanished. It's never been seen since.
Now there was a lot of swords. There's with the armament that happened after the war. There's a lot of family swords that is now sitting at the bottom of the Tokyo Bay. Yeah, with the rest of the Imperial arsenal.
Wonder if that could ever be found. Well, they would be so badly damaged now after decades and decades in salt water. They'd be ruined.
Wherever it's at in the Tokyo Bay, it's a mile and a half down underwater.
Dang.
Well,
They've got submersibles that can go down that far now, but
they basically loaded up a bunch of barges, grabbed whatever firearms there was, is any blades, anything that could be used as a weapon, and as with everything that was in the Imperial Japanese arsenal for tanks, artillery, and it was just pushed off the edge into the Tokyo Bay.
Oh, just like with the when the United States or the West came to Japan and they demolished the samurai, the law went into effect that they all had to hand over their swords. Figure out where all those swords at now. I mean, you're talking thousands of years old. These swords were,
And going back onto the cryptids, it is believed that these swords have a soul of their own, or they and have their own spirit that is generated both in forging and over the years through use. There's a lot of respect that's given to the sword by the sword wielder.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I found the reference to that sword I was talking about. It was called the Hanjo. The Hanjo Masamune is the ultimate samurai sword. In Japan, it's regarded as a national treasure, a thing of beauty shaped by fire and born of water, forged centuries ago by master swordsmith Masamune. Proven in battle for centuries, legends tell of a just blade, discerning and honorable. It was venerated as the hereditary sword of power by the ruling shoguns, passed from generation to generation for 700 years. But in the aftermath of the Second World War, it suddenly disappeared. Records tell of a mysterious U.S. Army sergeant who took it to be destroyed, but some say he saved it and took it home to America. Now worth millions of dollars, experts believe it may still be out there. This is the story of the ancient legendary Hanjo Masamune, the lost sword of the samurai.
Yeah, they were talking about that too. Sitting in somebody's basement or attic.
Now, living in Okinawa, the whole island is filled full of caves, and Japan most likely is also filled full of caves as it's volcanic. There has been in one instance where a old Vietnam tunnel rat was digging through some of the old tunnels that was being used as kind of makeshift natural shelters, and he actually took a metal detector and was going along the walls. After being told, he was approached by a local, was like, "You'll never find it." He was kind of confused, but then he started thinking, he's like, "Oh," goes into a cave nearby with a metal detector, goes along the floor and the walls, gets a hit, and digs out a kind of a false wall, and behind it there's a wrapped up sword. And he extracts the thing out, and he has it on display at one of his museums, I believe on Camp Kensington.
Jeez.
No, or possibly he kept it for himself at his home.
Let's figure out how old that is. It's old.
Northwood sent me an email with the aswang that we were talking about earlier. This is supposedly what it looks like. says originally of Philippine descent, and the Oswang is a horrifying creature with sickly dark scales, lanky limbs, and a long black tongue used to devour the unborn fetuses for prolonged life. They're also known as tick-ticks for their ticking sound they make with their tongues.
Looks like a gargoyle.
I hear something ticking in my house at night, and it's not a clock. I'm going to meet it with the shotgun. Ugh. Northwoods, thanks for sending that, man. Man, there are some creepy things out there. And my primary field of research has been North American cryptids, but I have looked some into Central and South American cryptids. But delving into these Asian cryptids, man, this is a new subject for me, and I'm really just kind of shocked at some of the weird things that are out there. I mean, I'm not saying I disbelieve any of it. I'm not saying that in any way, shape, or form. But some of these things are just really, really creepy and weird. Especially the undead Voltron. That one creeps me out.
Yeah, Harry Potter.
Yeah, everything I've seen from over there as far as the cryptid goes is pretty freaking horrifying. I don't, there's nothing good about it at all. Needs more shotgun.
Everything needs more shotgun.
Got quiet in here all of a sudden.
Anthony muted his mic.
Oh.
John Doe says Kusanagi no Tsurugi is one of the 3 imperial regalia of Japan and is a legendary sword. Well, that's really cool.
I believe that one
John,
on display in the Imperial Palace is in Tokyo.
John, if you want to pull some of the stuff about Japanese swords and post it in the Discord, that'd be something I think would be pretty fascinating and people would like talking about it. And I know you've got such a huge library of things that you've got some really pretty cool information on. If you post that in historical threads, I think that would be an awesome thread. John Doe says, considered to be, to some extent, divine, the sword is forbidden from being looked upon by the public.
Well, excuse my French.
Lenita says, I only have a steak knife for intruders. Well, we can rectify that. Yeah, go see the good folks over at Scallywag Tactical. They've got knives for all occasions. Some of their kitchen knives, great for filleting steaks or filleting intruders. I mean, they those are some wicked blades.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, see if I've got one handy. Why, yes, I do. It appears I have one just for such emergencies. This one is called the Valhalla. And you'll see the Scallywag logo on the blade.
I like it.
No, I will not show off how sharp this blade is because I will probably need Doc. This thing is wicked sharp. I need a tourniquet. But you can find some of these. You can find some of these Scallywag blades. They've got a scratch and dent sale going on from some of the blades that have blemishes on them. And I've bought a few of the blades on the blemish sale, and you can't even tell. I mean, my this one here, this is the gunner's mate that I talk about in the books all the time, and this was a blemish, and I can't find anything wrong with it. This is also another sharp rascal. I keep my knives all very, very sharp. But I picked that up. We've got that on the scratch and dent, and you can't even tell there's anything wrong with it. Their knives are made to take a beating. I mean, that gunner's mate is all of a 1/4 inch thick. I mean, it's a massive piece of steel.
Damn.
William Nighthawk says, Please don't trespass because I'm running out of places to hide the bodies. Oh, Werewolf 5674 says, "Oh yeah, pregnant women in the Philippines are afraid of them." Talking about the aswang. Well, William, I might have one that's just right up your alley. This one's called the boarding axe, and mine's OD green, so that means my green screen's probably going to chroma key it out. But that rascal will do some damage, and this is a heavy piece of steel. I mean, this is a heavy-duty blade. Yeah, if you're all in the market for any kind of knife, be it for fishing, hunting, camping, any situation you might need a knife for, including kitchen knives, go over to scallywagtactical.com and check out their blades. They have some amazing blades.
Yeah, and their kitchen knives are their kitchen cutlery is absolutely gorgeous too.
I want to get a full set of that.
Yeah, they're beautiful.
Oh yeah, I have not taken a moment to remind everybody. If you haven't had the chance, please hit that like and subscribe button. Hit the little bell icon next to the subscribe button so you get notified whenever we go live. And a few people were mentioning they were having trouble getting notifications from YouTube. Try turning off the notifications and then turning them back on. It might fix the problem. Hopefully it does. Also, share the video with your friends that enjoy this kind of content, and make sure you guys check those. Share that with people that you know that enjoy this kind of stuff, and it will help the channel grow. While we're waiting for Anthony to get back, Doc, have you got a med kit to show us tonight?
I do. It's one that you have. It's one that you have. One that you've carried on your belt, and it's. We've talked about this one before, but we may have some new viewers on here, and I'll talk about it real quick. This little beauty here is our EDC kit. I believe you have one in Ranger Green, isn't it, DA?
No, mine's black.
It's black. Okay. So we sell these in black or red, Ranger Green, Coyote Brown, or my favorite, Multicam. So this little sucker right here has my top 5 items that I like to have in a trauma kit in a very, very lightweight. I mean, even with a tourniquet and the little small pair of shears, this sucker weighs right at 12 ounces. So 3/4 of a pound of good insurance on your belt. It's got an area for a tourniquet here. This is a cat. It'll hold a soft T on there as well. And you pull the little handle here, and on the inside, it has your vacuum sealed insert with a pressure bandage, a pair of gloves, 12-foot roll of quick clot combat gauze, and 2 chest seals. So it's got your top 5 items in there, and it'll either be belt mounted on the back here through a big belt loop, or you can molly mount it to a plate carrier, belt, anything like that you have. And this is honestly one of our better selling little low profile kits out there, and highly recommend people, whatever you're doing, to have a med kit on your person or nearby, especially if you hang around people who say, hold my beer and watch this, or you're in the habit of doing dangerous things, or like DA, cutting yourself. So it's one of those things I'm very passionate about. It's what I'm supposed to do. Just one time. But it's I was watching a video the other day, a friend of mine showed me, and there's a guy at a plate glass shop, and they were or a glass shop, and these 2 guys were loading a piece of plate glass, a big pane, onto the truck, and it broke. Somehow it broke, flexed, shattered, whatever, and it ripped the guy's radial artery open. And they were just staring at it like a mule staring at a fresh hung gate. Didn't know what to do. And this is where not only having the kit, but having the training comes into play. And then we can offer both. So we do classes all over the United States. If any of y'all are in the Arizona area, got a class coming up in Scottsdale, Arizona at the end of April. So check it out. And then Mark Napier had a question. Do you prefer the cat or the soft T? Honestly, Mark, I like both. And I know I'm not being deliberately ambiguous. It is something that is apples and oranges to a lot of people. The cat is in the Generation 7 version of it, and the soft T is now in Gen 5. And I'm going to tell you what, man, they've made a lot of improvements on it. So typically, I'll have my ankle kit with a cat, and then my on my belt, I'll have a soft T, flat folded. So either one of them, you're definitely okay with, and it's much easier to put on one handed. That's the reason I kind of like the cat over the soft T for one hand application. But the soft T they've made a lot of changes in that tourniquet and made it a lot of improvements on it as well. So if you buy one of our kits, and thank y'all for those of you who have used it, because we got some Team Odin patches to be handing out to some folks. I've seen the coupon codes come up, which is pretty awesome. So if you, I can hook you up, Anthony. I know a guy. But if you use one of our kits to save a life, we will replace whatever you use absolutely 100% free of charge. So you buy one
kit for life guarantee.
Kit for life guarantee, and I'm about to replace kit number 137 here this week. So,
dude, that is awesome.
Isn't
nice.
That freaking cool? Yeah,
that is.
That gets me all jazzed up when I'm talking about that, because I'm like,
what was it used on, Doc? Did he save somebody with it, or?
Yeah, it was used on a stabbing victim outside a nightclub. Yeah, it was a police officer, had one of our kits, and had it there right on scene, and he was the first one there. So
that's cool. Cool as hell.
Cool, man.
Wanted to say a quick thanks to William Bedard for the super chat. Thank you, sir. Much appreciated. And if you guys are interested in one of Doc's kits, go to darkangelmedical.com and use discount code CRYPTID25 for 25% off your entire order. And if you want one of the new spear kits, which will be featured in the new Apex Predator book, if you want one of those with the Team Odin rocker on it, make sure you put Team Odin or Codename Wild Hunt in the notes box, so they'll make sure to get one of those to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And Lanita had a question. Do you have a fanny pack kit with a good sized knife in it? I don't. We don't carry any knives or anything like that. Well, I'm a dealer with Benchmade, but when I was carrying knives, they just sold really slowly, and they ate up inventory and capital. But as far as the fanny pack, we're kind of kicking that idea around, Lanita, but right now it's not on our radar. But if you shoot me an email, I can point you to some good quality fanny packs out there, and you can stoke it with our components, or even one of our smaller little refills. So you'll have something good to carry some medical and a knife. I mean, I carry a little fanny pack when I go hiking or whatever. My daughter laughs at me because she's like, "Wear your cargo shorts and Birkenstocks, Dad."
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, yeah, but that's okay. I've got medical in here, plus a pistol, plus a knife, and a flashlight, and a fire starter, and everything else. So yeah, shoot me an email, Anita, and I can get you squared away with some information.
I've never used the soft T. The only ones I've trained with are the cat.
Yeah,
that's what I carry.
The soft T, man, it came out and it looked kind of complicated, but they've really made a lot of improvements on it to make it a lot better. Yeah, Hooter, we're working hard, man. I'm about 8 days behind. We were waiting on some components, but everything's getting sent overseas right now, so all of our components got delayed. I think Canon was building the spear kits today, and we're going to be getting those out as quickly as possible. So I appreciate your order and your business, your support, and your patience more than anything, because we're going as fast as we can with two folks in the shop. I'm about to get Angie to come up there with me tomorrow and get her and show her how to help me fulfill orders. So it'll truly be a family business. All right. Right on, Mark. Well, use that Cryptid25, brother. Use that Cryptid25 coupon code. I'll stop yammering about my kits.
Hey, man, I asked.
I kind of like them a little bit. Come to a class, y'all. Come to a class. It'd be great to meet some of y'all or all y'all, and get to hang out and get to learn some stuff. Get to learn what works, learn what doesn't work. And, it's like I had a guy in my class in Seattle And when he had his cryptid encounter with a couple of adult creatures and what he thinks was a juvenile, he's like, man, that got me to thinking. I wish I'd had your training and your kit, because me and my girlfriend and the dog were hauling butt out of the woods at like 2:00 in the morning. So getting pelted with rocks and sticks and everything else. So
We got to get him on to tell the story.
I need to, man. I got his contact info, so he'd be happy to do it.
Anthony sounds like all hell's breaking loose. Sure.
I'm trying to mute the mic. What the hell? Sorry. Hey! I'm sorry. DA, mute me, would you? Mute it.
Give me a second.
It won't mute. Jesus, Mary. Yeah.
I can't get it to mute either.
I don't know what's going on. Yeah. All right, enough. I'll try. Hold on.
Eli, the old cats. He had something about being out. He sees plastic fail. I have yet to see a Gen 6 fail on any of the cats that I've used, and the Gen 7s. It's even a more burly, thicker windlass on their devices. So I would feel utterly confident with either one of them. So yeah, the new ones are really nice, Clark. They're top notch. But all y'all need a med kit. I started talking about freaking Bigfoot. The dogs went ape crap, man. So
they must have heard one. Like, say Bigfoot. You say Bigfoot.
All right. So West
now,
is back.
Some of the Japanese cryptids, some of them are downright creepy, then some of them are just really, really bizarre. There's one called a Kasa Obaki, or Karaska Kozo. It's an umbrella ghost. According to the folklore, the Kasa Obaki is an old or broken umbrella that turned into a ghost, usually with one eye, one leg, and a long tongue. Other variations depict it with arms and 2 feet. It's part of a category of yokai known as Sukumogami, which are ordinary objects that gain a soul and come to life after hundreds of years. Unlike many yokai, the Kase Obaki is relatively harmless and enjoys scaring people for fun and licking them with its long tongue. Though there may be some who truly believe in this animated umbrella, it's mostly thought of as a metaphor and used to explain how objects gain character and personality, i.e. a soul, as they age, often meant to discourage thoughtless disposal of objects that have a long history and still have use within them.
Or things just outright disappearing when you're trying to look for it.
Yeah, that's my house all the time. I will lay something on my desk, turn back around to get it, and it's moved. It happens all the time. I'm losing my mind or something's playing pranks with me, because it does it all the time.
Now, West, what about lizard men? Are there some stories about those little critters?
Not that I know of that I remember offhand. Being Japan, there's most likely something out there. The closest that I can think of it is the kappa.
Okay.
And the kappa, I've explained earlier in the show that they're basically small, little childlike creatures, and that live in the rivers, streams, and lakes, and other bodies of water. They're kind of like a turtle, and they got a beak. They got a shell. Sometimes they'll have a little divot on the top of their head. They can hold water. They can be quite dangerous or malicious towards people, but counteracted, if people know that there's a kappa in the water, they'll toss a cucumber with their name and date of birth on it. And they'll discourage the kappa from attacking them.
Okay. Yeah, I just pulled up a picture of one. It looks kind of turtly.
Mm-hmm.
So
there is there's some shrine that is in Japan. I believe it's northern Japan that claims that they got a arm of a kappa or even a body of a kappa. That has been defeated in sort of a battle. However, people have yet been able to take a sample of it just to do like DNA sequencing, see if it is something that is cryptid in origin or if it's something more worldly, such as the giant salamander.
You know, there's a species of giant salamander here in Missouri. It's called the Ozarks hellbender. They're endangered, and they are freaking huge.
Those things still creep me out. They move like snakes.
Yeah, they do. They look like the ones I've seen are probably about 2.5, 3 feet long, like black mottled skin. They look like a lizard, but they're all slimy and they live in Missouri lakes and rivers. I've seen a few of them, but if you find one, you're best to leave it alone because you can get in a lot of trouble with the Missouri Department of Conservation if you mess with them. We were catching crawdads one time and scared one up.
That's interesting.
I just caught a tweaker. That's what the whole commotion was about. So sorry.
Oh, I was wondering why the chat disappeared.
That's very interesting. Yeah, I was reading something about the kappa on here. It said it's generally considered mischievous they pass gas or looking up women's kimonos to the malevolent, such as throwing people and animals or kidnapping children. When they attack people, they often pull the person's intestines out through their anus in order to get to a mythical organ called the shirikodama, which is said to contain the human soul.
Wonderful.
And then it talks about their love of cucumbers. Well, I'll just give them some cucumbers instead of them eating my butt. So totally okay with that. Here's a cucumber. Leave my intestines alone.
Ooh.
That's interesting.
Ripping it out through your anus.
Yeah, that's a little bit. And we're not talking about the planet either. That's a little bit scary. Wow.
Okie dokie.
Yeah, that's pretty. I mean, I'd rather have one pass gas and toot on me than rip my guts out through my butt, man.
They say we're messed up over here in the States.
Man.
Okay.
That's pretty violent, man. But West, have you heard this about the kappa? How if you get one to yield, if you defeat it, how it will give you medical knowledge or crop information. That was something that was said on here.
Yeah,
it says very polite once it yields.
If you spare, once you defeat it, it's either by tricking it by dumping its head, water out of its head, or combat. It'll grant you one wish. And back in the day, it was a lot of medical and agricultural knowledge.
Huh.
I can't.
But that's if you spare its life.
Sorry.
Okay.
We're gonna have to add Anthony's dogs to the logo.
I can't. This is crazy.
Wow.
I don't know what's going on outside, man.
Well, thank you for that, West. I appreciate that, man. So the kappa and then the Yeti-like creatures. Anything ever been spotted up Mount Fuji? Just out of curious.
Some of the Hibagon sightings are on Mount Fuji.
Yeah, there probably is some sightings out in Mount Fuji. Yeah, by hikers.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a lot of the sightings for some cryptids will be very much in less urban, more in the mountains and some of the areas of northern Japan.
Okay.
Gotcha. Away from people.
Okay. Yeah, that's because my wife went over my son and my son-in-law and my daughter were stationed in Masawa.
Oh yeah.
And they went up north and we're out in the woods, and she was like, yeah, I got some creepy feelings out there, but never saw anything. And I was like, there's probably, you know, probably Bigfoots, big feet, whatever, critters out there too. So, you know, that their version, I mean, because you think about it, with the Yeti, I mean, that's up in the Himalayas, and so that's all in the not same area, but, you know, geographically. It's not like it's that far removed.
Yeah, Japan has their own version of the Hibagon.
Okay.
It's smaller, kind of more gorilla or baboon-like, and has similarities to the snow monkeys.
Okay. Are there thoughts that it could be the Gigantopithecus?
Possibly.
The Hibagon would be too small. The biggest the Hibagons get is 5 to 6 feet.
Okay.
They're more like Japanese snow monkeys than they would be Gigantopithecus. But they're far less aggressive than the North American counterparts. They're more likely to just run from you.
Okay. We had a question from Robert Ramirez. I think you put it up there, DA, about, hey, Doc, do you ever hold classes in Dallas, Texas? Robert, I don't hold any classes in Dallas. However, I do have one at the end of April in Bryan, Texas, College Station area, which is not too far, a couple of hours from you. And then we have one in June in Katy, Texas, which is right outside Houston. I'm sure you know that, but for folks who don't know where Katy, Texas is, it's right outside Houston. So I've got a couple of Texas classes this summer. Nothing in Dallas proper, though, which I would like because my son and daughter-in-law live in Dallas.
Be a great working vacation then, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Unlike the working vacation I'm going to be going on in that book.
There you go. For those of you who are unaware, the current project, Apex Predator 5, it's really kicked into high gear. It's over 30,000 words now and climbing nightly. And I got Doc out of bed late a couple nights ago. I'm like, hey, I screwed up. How bad did I screw up? He's like, well, send it to me. So I sent him about 3 paragraphs. He's like, oh yeah, you got to fix this.
We worked through it. Worked pretty good. I think his exact words are, hey, F you up.
Yeah, that's exactly what I texted. Hey, F you up.
Well,
You
yeah,
wake.
I am now. Yeah, and literally, I just gotten out of the shower and was getting ready for bed. So you got me at the right time. So
Got him in his jammies.
Doc, when are you headed down this way?
I am headed down there Friday.
Okay.
Yeah, Friday. It's a
And
turn
you're
and burn. I head down Friday and head back on Sunday.
Okay, so you'll be, but you're going to be in Daytona area?
I'll be in Titusville.
Yeah, it's like halfway.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'll be in Titusville. Yeah. Next time I come down, I'm gonna stay a little bit longer. That way we can link up and go look for something.
I was telling him, I got a spot out in Ocala that Jamie and Jimmy and Mark gave to me. Actually, Jimmy did. That same spot where he got those casts and stuff. The 3-foot, the 3-toed.
Yeah.
I know exactly where it's at and everything. So I'm GPS coordinates and stuff.
Okay.
We could head out that way.
I'm down like a fat kid on a seesaw.
Yeah, me too. So.
Alyssa Khan says, my Japanese aunt said their Bigfoot lives in northern Japan and are on Fuji. There are stories of them being fierce fighters and would take human wives to create peace, according to her. Well, that's pretty cool. It's always good to hear some of the folklore from people that are from there.
Right.
Werewolf 5674, I have no idea what Nightbot's on about. Nightbot kind of gets a mind of its own sometimes. I have no idea what it did. I I think Meg's the only mod we've got in the room tonight. I'm going to be adding a couple mods here in the next week or two. I've got one already in mind. If anybody else would like to become a moderator for the chat, please let me know. But I do already have one in mind. I just got to show them how to do it. Let's see if there's any more of the really weird Japanese cryptids.
There's so much, like we said.
Yeah, there's just every one of my found is weird. There's something called Kofu fanged humanoids. It says in 1975, two 7-year-old boys had a face-to-face encounter with a pair of fanged humanoids, which would haunt them for the rest of their lives. Sometime before 7 p.m. on the evening of February 23rd, 1975, two grade school boys, Masato Kawano and Katsuhiro Yamahata, were roller skating near the Hinode housing estate in Kimimachi, Kofu, Yamanishi, Japan, when they noticed a pair of glittering orange UFOs frolicking in the sky above. The enthralled boys stared in awe as the larger of the two objects broke off and flew toward Mount Atago, while the smaller one slowly descended to the ground, landing among the props of a vineyard behind the estate. The boys later stated that the strange aerial objects emitted an odd crackling or ticking sound, not unlike that of a Geiger counter. Huh. So I would say the fanged humanoids are aliens, maybe?
Sounds like it.
Very well.
Grab it.
Folks, if you guys really want to delve into all these Japanese cryptids, I will post a link to the cryptid wiki, and there are ones we haven't even touched on. There's just way too many to cover on one show.
Yeah.
We're at the 2-hour mark now, and we generally start wrapping up sometime after the 2-hour mark. But there are just a ton of them we haven't even gotten into. And I posted the link in the chat, so you guys are welcome to check those out. There have been a couple that were mentioned in the chat tonight, like the Black-Eyed Kids, and someone the other day had mentioned something about the Mandela effect. Both of those are shows I plan to do at some point in the future. However, Anthony has been working overtime to get us some really interesting guests. So look for announcements of some of these guests coming. I think you're going to know some of these names. We're pretty excited for some of these. I don't want to let the cat out of the bag until we post the show. Let's just say over the next month we're going to have some very interesting guests.
Yeah, a lot.
There's one common appearance of a Japanese cryptid known as the tanuki. I've seen numerous figurines of the tanuki while I lived in Japan, and they're pretty much a mischievous shapeshifters. And for how they're depicted, they're usually very fat and with a bottle of sake, and is also gifted in certain specific areas. And that being they got unusually massive balls. Mostly represent wealth, but I don't know how they get wealth out. They consider wealth out. I don't know how it's called.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes they'll be depicted wearing a hat, and other times they'll be depicted having a leaf on their forehead or on their head. Let's see what else.
What were those little figurines you were showing before the show?
Oh yeah.
Well, when I was over in Okinawa, Japan, they had these little figurines. They're known as chisas. The little guardian dogs or lion dogs. Some people might know them as foo dogs. But these will be placed on top of houses or at entrances to houses. There's one that accepts it's good coming into a building or into a house. The other keeps bad stuff out.
Mm-hmm.
They always come in pairs, and it's unlucky to have one by itself.
Why is that?
They said they're always kept as a pair.
Mm-hmm.
It's like was it husband, wife, brother, sister? That one cannot do without the other.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm looking. Werewolf restored. I guess Meg restored him from his comment.
Nightbot was going after Werewolf for some reason.
Yeah, why?
All I saw was the Nightbot said something. Nightbot gets a little squirrely once in a while. As Josh would say, sometimes he has to take Nightbot out behind the woodshed and set it straight.
And probably because of the funny comments he was making. Who knows? I could have picked up on that. I don't know.
Maybe so.
Sometimes Nightbot picks up on the weirdest things. It works great when it works, but when it doesn't, it gets pretty wonky.
Yeah. Like, man, he peed in Nightbot's cornflakes big time. Lord.
Whatever he did, he got Nightbot's full attention.
Yeah,
he was talking. He was making jokes about his ex, and that's what I think set that thing off. Just click.
Nightbot's like, "Hey now, hey,
I'm dating her, so you got to watch what you're saying."
Meg says Nightbot is crazy. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got that. 83 people watching. Okay.
Nice.
So, and it was I don't know why this thing wouldn't mute when I needed to mute it or shut it down, or
who knows. Restream gets in a mood sometimes.
Yeah.
Mark Napier says, "Yeah, Nightbot went after me the other night." I have no idea why Nightbot does the things it does. Like I said, when it works great. When it doesn't, it does weird things. It's like it has a mind of its own sometimes. Like, you know what? I'm gonna pick one random person and mess with them tonight.
And it goes, what is it? Does it go? It goes after comments that are like not.
Yeah, well, we've got specific keywords for it to look for, but sometimes I think it just makes up its own list. It's like he said the. I'm going after that guy. Nightbot, man.
Oh man.
Very intelligent.
Marshall Sirota says, "So Nightbot is a cryptid?" No, it's not that smart.
No.
Eli Harrison says, "Nobody mentioned the random orbiting object." Yeah, let's not go there. We'll get the stream screwed up for sure with that.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Especially
folks,
on the...
I'm going to start winding things down. If you enjoyed this show, please like and subscribe to the channel. Share the video with your friends that enjoyed this kind of topic. I know we just kind of really scratched the surface of Japanese cryptids, but as you can tell by the link that I posted, we could be talking for hours and barely get through half that list. There's just so many on there. Some of them are mundane and weird. Some of them are downright creepy. Like Undead Voltron. That Operation Undead Voltron is probably one of the funnest things I've seen in a while.
That's a good one.
That would still cracks me up. That's going to be something that Margolin's going to say at some point. It's just got to happen. But and again, appreciate you guys being here tonight. Wes, brother, thank you for being here.
Yeah, no problem.
I appreciate you bringing your knowledge to the show tonight. Firsthand knowledge from being in Okinawa. John Doe is going to be posting some stuff in the Discord about the history of Japanese swords and specifically the cursed swords as well. So if you guys aren't members of the Discord community, I hope you guys go over there and sign up. It's free. And we just carry on conversations very much like we're having tonight. I will go ahead and see if I can get Nightbot to actually do its job and have it post the Discord link. The link that's going to pop up, you guys can click and join our Discord server. It again, like I said, it's free. You're more than welcome to join in the conversation. Oh, this is Nightbot has an issue. Yeah, that's no joke. But yeah, appreciate you guys being here tonight. If you guys want to become members of the channel, if you look down at the bottom of the screen next to the subscribe button, you'll see a join button. And if you click on that, you can join the channel at a couple of different levels. One gives you extra emoticons like the weird Bigfoot ones you see in the chat. And the other will actually get you access to special videos that aren't released to the general public, exclusive video content. Also, if you're interested in helping to shape the future of the DA-verse, you can do so by becoming a patron at the Patreon community. And there's multiple tiers that you can join. You can check that out at patreon.com/DARobertsAuthor. And help shape the future of the series to come. Got another super chat from William Bedard. Thank you, sir. He says, watching you for a couple months now, DA. You're well diverse on all kinds of topics. Much respect. Thank you, sir.
Cool.
We're a learning process here too. Like, I didn't know a whole lot about Japanese cryptids going into this show. I've been kind of doing a crash course over the last 4 or 5 days. Wes knew a lot more about it than I do from living over there in Okinawa, and I really appreciate you, brother, coming in and helping us with that tonight.
Yep.
We enjoy cryptids of all stripes, and there's going to be more shows on this in the future. I'm going to be doing some shows with guests that I have yet to announce, and we can thank Anthony for that. He has been really shaking the trees and raking the leaves as it comes to getting guests. He's got some people on the hook. I think you guys are really going to enjoy hearing. Some people in the Bigfoot community, some people from television and movies. So look for that. We're going to be pretty excited to announce some of these people once we've got the dates confirmed.
Yeah.
Some of the names you are going to recognize, trust me. So hopefully you guys will enjoy those shows as well. I've also got a long list of future projects that we're going to do shows on, from things like the Mandela Effect. And if you will join us this coming Saturday, when we're going to talk about a creature from Ozark's folklore. It's a vampire type creature. It's called the Minashunka. And it's an Ozarks legend, lives here in the Ozark Mountains. It's a really, really odd story, and I hope you guys will jump in and join us. And I'm going to try to get down to Douglas County. In Missouri, they refer to it as Booger County. I'm going to try to get down to Booger County and shoot a video in the area where the last known sighting of this thing was. And try to get that up, and it may be one of the exclusive videos. I haven't decided. I haven't even shot it yet, so I haven't decided yet. So I definitely want to get down to Douglas County and shoot some video if the weather holds. We had kind of a cold snap in the area for today and the next couple of days, but hopefully before the weekend I'll get down there and get a video shot. But hope you'll join us Saturday. What's that?
It's like
Missouri weather makes up its own mind.
That's like Florida weather. Florida's the same way. Give it 10 minutes, it'll change.
4 seasons in a year. We get 4 seasons in an afternoon.
Yeah. It was 89 degrees today, and tomorrow it's going to be in the 30s. Like what? It's
like Colorado.
Right. It's like, huh?
That's funny. Werewolf 5674 says, I never talk about my ex, that I've made no comments about my ex. And then he went on to say, he said, I was talking about the thing that pulls your intestines out. So apparently Nightbot fixated on that for some reason, even though we were just talking about it.
Exactly. I have to apologize to Meg, because obviously my three giant pit bulls scared the hell out of her little dogs. And they ran, I guess, looking for my dog. So Meg, I apologize for that and the fiasco that took place here at the house. I am basically in the wooded area, so I get, these dogs are on high alert. So I apologize to everybody for the fiasco. really do.
My Harley does the same thing. He has protected this family from
Exactly.
murderous leaves and squirrels and the
Yeah.
occasional package delivery.
Yeah.
He's on high alert for anything like that. You know.
And that one dog you heard barking that was in the background, not the two in the room, that was all in the living room. That's a 120-pound pit bull. So,
Whew.
yeah.
Harley's
So I got
probably in the ballpark of 90 to 100
Yeah,
pounds.
I got
He's
two
not
of them.
huge, but he ain't tiny.
I got two here with me and one in the living room, and you know we're on property, so it's you know, anything could cross the property. I could get a coyote or anything that sets them off. You know, and like I said, I live on a dead end, so when a car comes up the road that's not supposed to be here, and it stops in front of the house, these dogs will let you know. And that's what they were doing tonight. The car stopped in the front, and that was all hell broke loose. So I apologize to everyone again.
Well, at least your dog do something. All I got is chihuahuas.
We have this space heater in our living room for nights when it gets cold, and it looks like a little fireplace. And when you turn it on, it's got this fake fire that burns.
Yeah, I
in.
got one.
Night, yeah, the other night we were watching a show. It was one of the cops episodes that had the dogs, and me and the wife were sitting there watching it, and I looked over, and that little idiot Harley was stretched out on his belly just as far as he could get, right in front of that heater, watching the dogs on television. He was just completely wrapped up in that TV show.
Yeah, I like how they say dogs don't watch TV. Well, they do,
He
because
sure
these two will be on the bed just staring at the TV. You know, I'll be watching a hunting program, and they'll be like a deer, and they'll be like fixated on it. So yeah, they're unique, very unique, man.
They certainly are. And Harley has an abundance of personality. I call him Harley the Wonder Dog all the time. He's a little brat. But anyway, I got sidetracked again wrapping the show up, so I apologize. No, no problem at all. It's these little crazy side journeys we take that makes the show interesting.
That's like what Doc said. If we don't get sidetracked, it's not a show.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
Or if we don't have a technical issue, it's not an episode
Exactly.
of Machina.
No.
We're going to have something somewhere.
Till you get a giant studio and everybody can, you know, sit in there and talk like on a regular Joe Rogan podcast, that's different. But, you know.
Northwoods has got a good point. He says, of course, everybody's dog is on high alert for the sound of food hitting the kitchen floor.
Yeah.
Harley doesn't beg for scraps, but if you're eating, doesn't matter what you're eating, he'll put his chin like on the chair and look at you like, wow, that looks really good.
You ever see?
He doesn't whine or beg or anything. He just stares at you like you could expect a Sarah McLachlan song to be playing in the background.
Oh my God.
And it was like,
I gotta tell you just real quick before we go. My son was about 7, and I made him a corn dog. And I said to him, because he used to play Call of Duty and all that crazy stuff, and I said, hey, whatever you do, watch where boss is, my pit. No, I mean, at the time was my other pit, Dozer. I said, watch where he is. He'll take it right off your stick and leave you holding the stick in your hand. Yeah. Just made it for him. And he's sitting there playing, and he's got the thing, and I watched him creep over and just go, whoop, take it right off the stick and run off, and he's sitting there holding it like, where'd my corn dog go? He didn't even know he took it. I was like, told him to watch it. Yeah, they're funny, man. They're unique, man, dogs. Let me tell you. Enjoy it till live.
We used to have a bull mastiff named Coda, and if you left a sandwich unattended, have you ever seen those old episodes of Scooby-Doo where he just inhales the food? I swear to God, that dog was like that. If you left a sandwich unattended, it would be like, shoot, gone. I mean, you wait for a second and look back, and he ain't even chewing no more. He's like, I didn't take it. Nope, wasn't me.
Yeah. My female pit, she's nursed kittens. Kittens. They actually go into, Doc, you probably know what it is. It's like a pre-labor? A dog, a female dog?
They go into like a false labor. We had a little dog that nursed some kittens back to health as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I tell people that, and they're like, no, I didn't. I said, yeah, my female pit. Yeah. I found 2 kittens, man. They were so small, and they just curled right up to her, and she started producing my feet. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, crazy.
That's wild.
Isn't it? It's just nuts.
That is really wild.
Blows my mind sometimes. Anyway, sorry about that. Just throw it out there.
Oh, no problem at all. A cool way to end up the show talking about dogs. Wes, you were going to say something about your dogs?
Yeah, my border collie that I have also with the Chihuahuas he's a little pizza thief.
Oh yeah.
There's one time I was distracted playing Battlefield 1 and while I'm in the middle of a firefight, and I got a Domino's pizza that's sitting right in front of me, tops open, and my dog, my border collie, comes over slowly, he grabs a slice of pizza, slides it off, and just devours it immediately. And every time that he would be watching me, and it would watch when I'm really focused on something. He would just go
exactly.
They're
not stupid. They're not stupid, man. They're smart.
There's another time that I had a pizza slice in my hand, and I got distracted for a second, and dog jumps up and takes the whole pizza out of my hand. I'm going, what the?
Yeah, exactly. I mean that they're unique, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, well, everybody talks about what they do for a Klondike bar.
Yeah.
My dog Harley will absolutely flip out as anybody opens. We always get the Sam's Club big jars of animal crackers. I don't know what it is about animal crackers, but that dog absolutely goes bananas when he hears that animal cracker thing opening. He just freaking loves them.
Bags of jerky.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just crazy.
I'll try to get some pictures uploaded for the next show and show off Harley. Maybe we could do pictures of everybody's dogs on Saturday. I'm sure everybody get a kick out of that. But anyway, back to
there we go.
Been trying to wind down for 20 minutes. Pretty typical night for us. But again, folks, thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate you guys so much. We have such a great time talking to everybody. Get to laughing and talking about goofy stuff. And sometimes it even happens. We manage to stay on topic. Not often, but it does happen. So
true.
We appreciate each and every one of you guys. We always have a great time. Again, I hope you guys will join us on Saturday night when we'll be talking about the Ozarks Vampire Beast. And it's going to be an interesting night. We should have a great time with that. And again, I'm going to try to get down to Booger County and get some footage in that area and shoot a couple videos. So I hope you guys will tune in Saturday and join us for that. And be watching for the announcement of some of those guests that Anthony's been pulling out of thin air. I don't know how he's been getting some of them, but we're going to have some good times.
I made it an offer they can't refuse.
Anthony's the Godfather. I made him an offer they couldn't refuse.
I'm persistent,
That's what we
man.
needed. Sick an Italian on them. There we go.
I'm being very persistent with them. They've been nice. No, they've been, like I said to you earlier, they've been nice guys, man. I mean, really. They could have told me to go fly a kite for all I know, so, once I got to talking to them.
Tells them to come on the show where they're going to get a visit from a guy whose middle name is The.
Yeah. So.
Joey the Fish and Jimmy the Squirrel.
That's it. Tony 2 times.
There you go.
Two times.
Yeah, get the paper. Yeah.
Again, folks, thank you guys so much for joining us. The madcap tomfoolery that always happens at some point during the show. Appreciate you guys so much. I hope you guys will join us on Saturday night. Check out patreon.com/DA Roberts Author if you want to get involved with helping shape the future of the DA verse, or if you want to get involved with the channel and show your support for the channel, you can hit that join button down at the bottom of the screen on the YouTube channel, and that helps support the channel, helps us continue to grow. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, share the video with all your friends that enjoy this kind of content, and if you know anybody that likes cryptids or anything weird that goes bump in the night, just send them our way. And if you have topics you would like to see in future shows. There's actually a thread on that in the Discord where you can suggest topics, or you can email me at daroberts@daroberts.net. And I found out why everybody's been having trouble, because we've had a lot of trouble with people trying to email me at that email address. Apparently, normally, like Gmail does not have a problem. It's not case sensitive, but the email program I'm using is. So it just has to be all lowercase letters or it won't get to me for some stupid reason. If you use lowercase letters, it works just fine. If you capitalize the D, the A, and the R, I don't get it. It doesn't even go to spam. It just doesn't get to me. So if you want to email me, just email me at daroberts@daroberts.net. If you have a story of encounter or encounter of your own you would like to share with us, let us know. And we would love to hear your story and maybe even get you on a show to talk about it. Again, thank you guys. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. Anthony, Doc, Wes, thank you guys so much for coming here tonight. It has been a hell of a good time. I enjoy you guys, hanging out with you guys and everybody in the chat, because it's just like hanging out with a bunch of buddies, talking over a fire, talking about weird crap. And at some point in the not so distant future, I want to organize something with a local campground and invite a bunch of y'all out to just do that very thing. Sit around a campfire and swap stories and have a couple of frosty beverages and tell stories and roast some hot dogs, maybe marshmallows and s'mores.
Yep.
So look for that. I want to make that happen at some point in the not so distant future. Maybe we can get permission to go camp in Joe Bald. That would be kind of cool.
That'd be rad.
That would be awesome. But again, thank you guys so much for being here. Hope to see you guys on Saturday night, and I hope you guys have a great week. Be safe, be good, and if you can't be good at it. Have a great night, everybody.
Good night, guys.
Good night, y'all.
Thank you
Night,
for
Wes.
joining us tonight on DAX Machina. If you ever have an encounter of your own that you wish to discuss, contact us at daroberts@daroberts.net. You can remain completely anonymous if you wish. Pull your covers up tight and keep a nightlight burning bright. Oh, and did you forget to lock your doors?